Morning, 9 a.m. Rodney pours himself a glass of orange juice in the kitchen. His face is stoic, utterly void of all emotion. His mind vague, but if there's one thing he can feel, it has to be mysticism. He still thinks he's asleep. How can his dead daughter not be dead? To say he is skeptical of how Amberly is sitting in the living room right now, watching cartoons with Nell, would be a gross understatement. As if nothing they had experienced the last couple weeks never happened at all. They buried her in a pretty white dress with a stuffed animal she won at a carnival 3 years ago. Amberly loved that stuffed animal. It was an elephant with zebra stripes. Not overly imaginative, but just enough visceral confusion to play with your eyes and to make the little girl smile. It was a mind boggle, but compared to a resurrected child, it's nothing. How is she not dead? Rodney wonders if Amberly is immortal. She has come back from beyond the grave, so why wouldn't she be immortal? Cursed to look young for all time. It could be worse, but given the circumstances of Amberly's death, Rodney hates to think how. For now, he appears to be happy. At least at first glance. Rodney is a practical man and a realist. When it comes to life, everyone has just one go around. They never come back. It just doesn't happen in real life. As shocked as he was, and truthfully still is, Amberly should still be buried 6 feet under. How the hell is she back? He ponders and peeks his head towards the living area to see Amberly, freshly bathed, sitting next to Nell, watching television, cuddling. Her skin still pale and flaked. A good warm bath is not going to fix this. If anything, she still looks dirty. Sadly, they don't make a shampoo or a body wash to rid away the stench of death. Nell, of course, is ecstatic. Her prayers were answered because her little girl is back. She doesn't care how or why Amberly is, just that she is. None of this sits right in Rodney's soul, nor should it. It isn't natural. Rodney walks into the living room, smiles at Nell. That's all he can do. She's holding Amberly close enough to suffocate her. Well, maybe once upon a time at least. There isn't a single person who wouldn't want a deceased loved one to return, especially a child who died of unnatural causes, and Amberly's was most irregular. That was Rodney's biggest fear when he first heard that he was going to have a child, let alone a small baby girl, was how to protect her. Never to admit it in case he jinxed himself. Growing up, it's always been easy for him to not give a shit about himself. Fuck me, no one cares about me. That's what Rodney always thought. To some extent, so did Nell. When they were young, they flipped death the bird and didn't worry about the consequences. Their lives sucked enough as it were, what else could go wrong? They were young and brave, which means they were stupid. The world would never know or care if Nell or Rodney lived or died. In some bitter revolt against life, they welcomed death. Then they had Amberly, and it all changed rather quickly. To go from, see if I care, to, damn it, I care too much. All Rodney and Nell hoped was anything foolish they did in their early lives didn't come back and bite him in the ass. Or worse, came back to bite Amberly. In retrospect, it did, if you believe in karma. Amberly lost her life and Nell's world ended. She would never admit it because she loves Rodney too profoundly, but whenever Nell looks at him, she sees Amberly. She would see their dead daughter and would blame him. For the longest time, she resented him. He should have been there to get her from school that day, but he wasn't. For whatever reasons or excuses, in the end, he never showed up. The only one to show was the devil. For that, Nell rightfully blamed him. Anyone would, and a lot of people have. If she ever told him this, it would kill him. After all, Amberly is here now. She's back, and Nell will do whatever it takes to keep her here. You, want something to eat, baby girl? Rodney asks Amberly. Doesn't know what else to say. Seems to be his only go-to line. How the hell would he know what to say or do? Amberly's blank face shows no sign of her even paying attention to him, Nell, or the television. Everything seems to be background noise while she stays in deep thought. You want some pizza? I can order out. No, he can't. It's too early. He's no idea what he's saying. Talk, talk, talk. Keep your mind busy, Rodney. Still, Amberly says nothing. She's not hungry, Rod, Nell says. She's just a tired little girl who needs some rest and snuggle time with her mommy. Isn't that right, baby? Nell hugs Amberly, kissing her deathly frozen forehead. Frighteningly delusional. Well, if you two get hungry, you know who to call. I'll see you in a bit, Rodney states as he grabs the car keys and heads to the door. Where are you going? Nell asks, a bit disappointed. Work. Seriously. Amberly is here. You can't take the day off? Rodney seems nervous. Not only is Nell staring at him, but so is Amberly. For the first time, she's waiting for what her father's going to say. Her pupils are freakishly getting lighter in color, turning her baby blues into a shade of white. Her eyebrows are arched. It's not a look that he expected. It seems it's full of malice. Most certainly not a look of love or admiration. This is more of a look a hungry dog gives at a raw, bloody piece of ribeye. Or at least to Rodney, that's how it feels. Maybe it's only his guilt playing games with his already tottering psyche. I'm only going in for half a shift. 4 hours and I'm home. He mutters back to Nell, becoming increasingly nervous at the look Amberly is still giving. I'm sure Mac will let you stay home to mourn your daughter for Christ's sake, snaps Nell. I already mourned her. As you can see, Nell, it's hard to mourn the dead when they're not dead. Whatever. Nell snuggles closer with Amberly. More time with Mommy, then. She embraces her daughter as Rodney leaves the house. What the hell is Nell thinking? Rodney asks himself. He should have called someone. Amberly's doctor, the police, or even George Romero. Anyone who would know better than to let a walking corpse in their home and act as if nothing had changed in the first place. For a grieving mother, it's been heaven. Her stress and sorrows washed away. For Rodney and his fears, he's afraid that they've only just begun. Rodney works as a massage therapist at Elemental Remedial Massage and Therapy, a small business owned by his best friend and boss, Matt Conti. An unexpected career choice for Rodney, considering this is a man who has been through a lot and in the end has managed to find a profession where it entails him to calm others. Perhaps it suits him. Incidentally, medicinal in some perspective, he compares his world and problems to his clients. No matter how bad you have it, someone else always has it worse. And if you ask him, he'll tell you that he loves it, being able to wash away the stress and give customers 30 minutes, or even an hour, to escape from the tug and pull of the bustling world that eats everyone alive and spits them out. Today is much needed, considering Amberly has crawled from her grave to the living room couch. He opens her front door and walks in. At the receptionist's desk are Mac and Phoebe. Mac is a tall, muscular man, cocky and loud. Phoebe, who takes the calls and makes the appointments, is short, petite, but with a rather large bust for women of her size. She's fit, healthy even, but any chiropractor, or even architect, would tell her there's no way she should be able to stand. Her slight hunch is proof of that. They both seem surprised to see Rodney. Rod, bud, what are you doing here? Mac asks. Just want to get out of the house. You need to be home with your wife, man. Rodney can't help but smirk. I don't think so. Pretty sure she'll be fine, all by her lonesome. Mac begins to protest. Yesterday was, I let you have today off for a reason. No sweat, man. Mac, it's okay, Rodney says. I'm good, really. Besides, I have Mrs. Trin coming in for a session. Can't keep rescheduling with her. She's a great client, I hate to lose her. Rodney rubs his temples. Yeah, I get it. Keep your mind busy. You need to relax, Rodney. Clients can tell when you're tense, Mac points out. Mac might not be the best boss, but he is a caring friend. Most times short-sighted, the bigger things in life. His heart always seems to be in the right place, though. Poor guy has no idea what to say to his friend. Sure, Mac, like everyone else in the world, has lost relatives. Most recently, his dog was run over by a semi. He doesn't have kids, and he neglected the dog anyway. He doesn't know the joy and nervousness of bringing something into this fucked up world, let alone the misery of escorting them out. I know, is all Rodney can say before heading into the back to get ready for his shift. Right now, he doesn't need positivity. Just time to get his mind off of what's waiting for him at home. Rodney sets up his massage bed with red blankets to match the two-toned walls of red and cream. Built into the wall is a 5-foot-tall water fountain. The H2O gently trickles down, forming a puddle in the base before it's recycled. It is most definitely serene and peaceful. Exactly what he needs right now. He's searching through his inventory for a bottle of lavender-scented oil. It's Mrs. Trin's favorite. Has been for the last 2 years since she first became his client. His Best. Client. There's a slight knock on the door before it opens fully. In walks Mrs. Danielle Trin, 5 feet 5 inches of Vietnamese American sensuality. There are profound pink highlights intertwined with her natural jet black hair. She's younger than Rodney by a couple of years, but has enough world experience to know that he wants her. Rodney, she says innocently enough, but her eyes are telling a different story. A story of lust, a tale of taboo. Hello, Danielle. How are you today? He asks. Stressed, she replies, chuckling. She only knew the night he had. Glad you were finally able to see me. Just had it so rough lately. Well, I'm just glad you haven't gone anywhere else. How's the mister? She smiled, shuts the door and lets her robe fall, standing there nude in the open. Who the fuck cares? She replies. Her body is that of a supermodel. Maybe more. Instant kryptonite to any man. Neither of them is shy. Danielle makes no attempt to cover up, and Rodney makes no attempt to look away. Today's hardly the first time he's seen her naked, professionally or otherwise. Danielle slowly and purposely advertises her nakedness and thick hips as she walks to the table and bends over, sticking her ass high in the air, giving Rodney full view of the sweet muff residing between her legs. She's ready for more than just a massage. She turns her head around, smiles, whispers, "Oh, dear Rodney, I need it deep." Rodney turns his head away. "I can't. Not today," he painfully says, obviously with more on his mind. It's not hard to see why he wouldn't be tempted. Danielle is an exotic beauty. Lips skilled enough to suck his teeth through his ass. Most men wouldn't be able to pass it up. Then again, most men aren't married to women like Nell either. Even as sexy as Danielle is, she doesn't even hold a candle to Nell. That hasn't stopped Rodney, a man who grew up with pretty much nil, from getting greedy and spoiled over the years. Danielle doesn't give a shit about Rodney. She knows who Nell is and how she looks, but for this seductress, it's only a challenge. A challenge that she's already won. Danielle walks up to Rodney and presses her naked body against him. She reaches down to his crotch and knows he wants it. "What's wrong, Rodney?" she asks, knowing he's perplexed, but she thinks it's cute. He'd love to tell her. Well, not her specifically. Really anyone. Feels like he's going mad. To get off his chest would be a reprieve. "How the fuck is my dead daughter sitting on my couch at home?" he wants to ask. But instead he answers Danielle, "Nothing. Nothing's wrong." She reaches for his hand and places it on her right breast, squeezing her nipple between his thumb and index finger. "Then why are we waiting? Just fuck me." She leans in and kisses him. Danielle takes a moment before he kisses her back. Their tongues explore each other's mouths. His frustrations soon turn into moans. She reaches her hand down his pants. And just like that, Nell and their marriage are forgotten memories. Later that day, the front door to the gray house opens as Nell walks in carrying grocery bags. Kimberly sits on the couch, presumably never having moved since whenever Nell left to begin with. "Hi, baby. Mama got some food. Come pick something out." Nell carries groceries to the kitchen. Kimberly slowly turns her head and stares at Nell as she walks away. Her nose has caught a scent of something in the bags. Something delicious. Nell plops the bags on the island counter. She reaches in and grabs out various fruits, apples, oranges, and grapes to name a few, before placing them in the fridge. "Got some of your favorites, Amberly. I know how much you love your fruits and veggies," Nell remarks. Amberly never much cared for meat, ever since she saw a documentary when she was 8 on the slaughtering of animals. Turned her off of greasy hamburgers and fatty steaks. The sweet little girl was trying to do her part to help the environment any way she could. Nell puts some soda away when she reaches back up to the counter to grab the other groceries, but feels nothing. She stands straight up and sees the bags are knocked over. She doesn't know what to think until she hears chewing and sloppy eating. She leans over the island to the floor below. Amberly is hunched over, eating roughly 2 pounds of raw hamburger. shoveling into her unhinged jaw faster and faster. Her teeth are correctly grinding the slivers of meat at a supernatural pace. The still fresh blood from the beef drips down her chin. Nell is disgusted. "Amberly, what are you..." Nell asks before Amberly lunges at her, slashing through the air. She misses. It wasn't an attack. It was a warning. It startles Nell, who falls back against the refrigerator. Amberly shrieks before grasping the rest of the raw ground beef and running down the hall, into her room, slamming the door and cracking the pine frame in the process. Nell doesn't know what just happened. All she could do was stay planted to the floor, breathing deeply from fear. November 10th, noon.
Yeah, they're gonna give it to him. It's another touchdown. You know, bro, I just cannot believe this score. Giverton State was a clear favorite to win this game. Nationally ranked at number 4, but Olave University is actually pulling the upset. They're not even ranked. If I was Giverton State, I would just be pure embarrassed right now.
Sitting on the couch, Rodney watches the football game. He's wearing an Olave t-shirt. Not his favorite team, but he does live in Olave, so when in Rome. He's enjoying his Saturday off. His phone vibrates and he looks to see a text message from work. No one else is home, so it's safe for him to read. "Free on Tuesday morning. Book me. XOXO. Daniel Lee." Rodney smirks. Woman can't get enough of me, what he thinks, standing up to grab another beer. Tosses his empty bottle away in the recycling bin and walks past the hallway, where Amberly is standing, barely covered in the shadows, just watching. Rodney never even sees her. He opens the refrigerator to grab another beer. Inside the crisper to see if there might be more hiding inside, but sees nothing but raw meat, wrapped up with dates and written on them. Amberly, Monday lunch. Amberly, Monday dinner, etc. "What the hell?" he asks aloud, before finding a beer in the back of the drawer. Buffs the top and walks back to the living room to sit back down. As he passes the hallway, Amberly's gone. He plops down on the couch as the game continues. This was his usual Saturdays, even when Amberly was alive. Nell would usually visit her PTA friends and drag Amberly along, something that Amberly didn't mind because a lot of Nell's peers had kids the same age. It was a girls' day out kind of thing. Mother and daughter bonding time, something Nell never had when she was younger. The game on the TV freezes. "Every damn time. Fucking streaming sucks," Rodney exclaims as he shuts the television off to reset it. That's when he sees it. In the reflection of the TV screen, Amberly is standing directly over him, her mouth elongated by nearly 2 feet, covering half of his shoulder. He flinches in terror, throwing himself to the ground as he turns around to see nothing. Could have sworn he saw her. A small moment catches his eyes, and that's when he does see her hiding, her face just peeking out from behind the island kitchen counter, roughly 30 feet away. There's no way she could have moved that fast. Only 2 seconds? He thinks to himself. Holy shit, sweetie. You scared me. Are you okay? He asks, but to no surprise, he gets no response. Honey, he asks again, and still no answer. His heart is pounding heavily, as if he just had a heart attack. And the only thing Amberly does is groan and walk towards her room, her shoulders slumped. She's disheartened. The garage door leading into the kitchen opens, as Nell walks in carrying more grocery bags. Unsurprisingly, all of them are raw meats. Rodney pokes his head in from the front door. He's been sitting outside the entire time. Where the hell did you go? A voice calls out. Nell is startled at first, then she chuckles before she turns. You scared me. But she doesn't see anyone. Where are you? Front porch, Rodney answers. She looks through the doorway into the living room and sees Rodney hiding on the outside porch, peeking in. What are you doing? She asked. Answer me. Where did you go? Just to the store. Why? For what? Some meats, she replies. You got more? Why? We already have a barn in the kitchen. It's for Amberly. Rodney, why are you acting so weird? She asked. Me. I'm acting weird. He laughed sarcastically. The hell does a 10-year-old need with almost 50 pounds of raw meat, Nell? Well, I froze something. Nell, damn it. He snaps. You're acting like this is all normal. Rodney's frustrated, and Nell can sense it. Come inside, please. You're acting like a fool. Nell insists. Rodney slowly steps inside and takes deliberate steps towards the kitchen. He looks down the hall to see if Amberly is there, but she isn't. You can see that Nell's starting to lose it. Really, she's lost it ever since they heard from the sheriff who showed up at their home to tell her their daughter was dead. Nell needs the hope. She needs that something happy to cling on to. But Rodney's scared, and rightfully so. People don't come back from the dead, Nell. Something is seriously fucked up here. Rodney keeps his gaze on the hallway. Oh, Rodney, nothing's wrong. Amberly's come back to us. If anything, it was God. Whoa. Rodney interrupts her. Since when did you become religious? For the longest time, Rodney and Nell had become closet atheists. Growing up the way they had, many people would welcome the comfort and stability of having God in their lives. Some don't. Rodney and Nell were both proud to be among the naysayers. They didn't want the attention that came with denouncing a higher power. How else can I explain it, Rodney? She asked. It takes him a minute. I don't know. Shouldn't we call someone? No. I'm not having her taken away from me. Not again, Rodney. Nell snaps back. There's been a sliver of happiness, and understandably she wants to hold on to it. She's been through enough in her life, she's keeping this moment alive, no matter how dead Amberly is. The fact you just got defensive proves there's something wrong with her, Nell. Something serious. Like? Oh, I don't know. How about the fact that she was fucking dead? Nell ignores him. Fine. How about this? A little girl who hated meat, and now she eats it by the tonnage. In and out, she makes no noise. The sixth sense feeling constant. She stares, her infatuation with me. She looks at me with, I don't even know, I guess hunger? Disdain? Infatuated? Nell asks. You're her father. Of course she's gonna look at you. Stare at you. Maybe wondering why her father has yet to even bother with her. For a moment, Rodney might believe her. And the me? She's a growing girl. Phases. She'll be a teenager soon enough. Rodney sighs. Nothing he says is gonna make it look a difference. Nell is lost in her fantasy world and she is not coming back. The house settles and Rodney violently twists his neck looking down the hall as he hears a creak. What do you keep looking down there for? Nell asks. Amberly, he says. Honey? Rodney turns back to Nell, who is pointing towards the living room. Sitting on the couch is Amberly, watching and listening to everything he just said. His eyes widen with fret. Now, just say sorry, please, to your daughter and get ready for dinner, Nell says as she turns and puts the food away. Rodney can't do anything but stare at his daughter, makes no moves, and was staring right back, never once blinking. November 11th, 9 a.m. The morning school bell rings throughout the crowded halls of Justice Beecher Elementary School. Dozens of kids pour into their classrooms, noisy and hectic, aggravated that they have to be in school, but spirited enough that they get to see their friends. The happiest class, the most academically talented, is Miss Ottenstein's 4th grade class. High honors children usually get recommended for Colleen Ottenstein. She has a reputation for finding a child's strong suit and pushing them to excel. Exceptionally well, too, for 9 and 10-year-olds. This was Amberly's class. Colleen loved Amberly, adored her. It was a mutual feeling. I'll be honest, she's my favorite student. She'd always tell Rodney and Nell. Truthfully, she was Colleen's favorite. Amberly was very easy to get along with, and very easy to teach. With today's children who entirely depend on technology, Amberly preferred the old school method better. Actually reading a book, not a Kindle. Handwritten stories, creative writing, rather. Amberly had a knack of getting lost in the worlds that she created. She was so brilliant at creating art with her words, it was easy to follow along. So polished and rhythmical. And most times she wasn't even trying. Randy and Neil never understood where the talent came from. Sure, they would have loved to distract their brains long enough to escape a moment of their childhood, but they lacked the imagination. Mostly patience. That's the thing about wannabe writers. They have the talent for it, they don't want to subject themselves to sitting down and actually putting their vision to paper. That was never a problem for Amberly. And since Rodney can't even keep his dick in his pants for the one woman he swore his life to, and Nell can't even stop to imagine the drawbacks of her deceased daughter coming back to her. Patience seems a fitting word for them. Rodney taps on the glass to Miss Ottenstein's door. Colleen, an attractive woman, turns her attention to the noise and sees Rodney waving. She looks down in embarrassment and holds up her index finger for him to wait. Children, give me a moment, please, and continue reading the chapter 5, she tells the students, but they can't stop staring at the strange man at the door. A man that most of them only knew as Amberly's dad. Colleen opens the door and walks out into the empty hallway. Mr. Gray, I have nothing more to say to you, she states. You can call me Rodney. Okay, Rodney. Please leave me alone. It's about Amberly. Colleen has yielded. It has been. Please listen, Rodney begs. She talked of you more than anyone else. I'm not here about your husband. Ex-husband. She corrects Rodney. The bastard's in prison. Yeah, where he belongs. I told you this before, Mr. Gray. I had no idea of... I don't have the time to discuss all this. Not again. Please, Colleen. I never got to say goodbye to my daughter. My little baby girl. I'm trying... I want to understand her last day. I'm having a hard time coping with all this. Amberly was a fantastic writer. I want that connection again. Through her stories, please. Colleen seemed surprised. Are you saying you never read anything she wrote? Not a lot. She was smarter than I had ever been. I was embarrassed. I wouldn't understand anything. Mr. Gray, that seems kind of a cop-out. It's the truth, Rodney insists. You've already given everything to your wife. Oh, I see, he says. He didn't see it at all. He never knew Nell recovered anything from the school, let alone directly from Colleen, whose ex-husband was the one who killed Amberly. He's hoping Amberly's writings may have some clues as to why she has returned. Having watched numerous horror movies, Rodney's suspicions point to witchcraft. There's nothing that leads to the seduction of black magic, but what else can explain it? A writer keeps their lives hidden in between the lines, and Amberly's writing could tell the story of her resurrection. He's not going with science, it's based on real-life facts. Everything happening right now shouldn't be, so science seems void. Simply put, people do not come back from the dead. Amberly has come back home, just to pity Rodney's too scared to tell Colleen that she has. Please, excuse me, Mr. Gray. I have a class to teach. Colleen tries to leave, but she stops and turns back. With every bit of respect for Rodney and every ounce of love she had for Amberly, she puts this the best way she can without insulting either. I had no idea of Dane's sickness, as his attorneys state. I didn't. It makes me absolutely sick beyond belief to think I devoted 12 years of my life to that ailed bastard. I am so incredibly sorry for everything he has caused you. The pain for everyone involved, believe me or not, Amberly's death has been hard on all of us. So please, Rodney, do not bother me again. There's a lot of laundry to do when your child reeks of death and dirt. as Nell grabs some clothes from the washer and throws them in the dryer. She's humming a catchy tune to herself. Sounds like She's Like the Wind by Patrick Swayze. She's absolutely in cloud nine. Doesn't matter if there's an overcast and it's a little bit cold. Typical November day. All Nell sees is sunshine and birds, tweeting their beautiful melodies while the rainbows lead to the pot of gold at the end. Decayed flesh and dead flies flood the lint trap. It's absolutely disgusting. But for now, kids will be kids. It's what they do. They get you sick with the flu and cold. They spread around strep throat because they can't possibly conjure the notion of not deep-throating every water fountain they come across. Kids also love to share their abundance of head lice and chicken pox. God, kids are such filthy creatures, but at least they're willing to share. The vehicle outside pulls up along the gravel driveway, sounding its horn. Nell turns to the window and yells, "1 second, Scion!" She knows that the visitor would never have heard her anyway. It's just second nature for her. Scion is the older, short, overweight mailman. Friendly soul. He's been delivering the Gray's mail for the last 5 years. He's also a close friend near retirement. There have been plenty of times that Rodney and Nell had invited the friendly man and his wife over for dinner. Dinner with friends was a new concept to the new couple. It's another thing they never got to do in their life up to that point. As part of the norm for Scion to hand deliver every package and piece of mail directly into the Gray's hands, Rodney and Nell encourage it for 2 reasons. 1, they don't want to walk down the driveway to retrieve it, and 2, most likely is a package filled with goodies that he would feel better knowing for a fact that they had received. The mail truck's door shuts, and Nell can hear her mailman jogging up to her front door through the stone and leaves. "1 sec, Scion," Nell whispers to herself, deciding it's no use yelling as she rushes with the laundry. The doorbell rings. The exciting thought of trying to figure out what she had ordered soon dissipates when Nell hears floorboards creak from inside Amberly's room right above her head. Slow steps that are reacting to the doorbell. "Hey, Nell! Rodney! I got a package for you!" Scion yells out. That's when heavy thuds echo out. Faster and faster, with more impact on each step than the last before, it sounds as if the little mystery is gliding through the air. Nell can do nothing but stand in quiescent fear. The door opens and Scion screams and Amberly shrieks. A high-pitched wail. A primal roar of intense hunger. Scion's screams stop as fast as they first rang out. There's nothing but complete quietness for a couple of seconds. Then a scratching sound. No more steps, but dragging. Something. It's almost too easy to be a body. There's no strain on the steps, as if someone was dragging a sack of marbles. But what else could it be? Nell can practically hear Scion's slacks rub against her hardwood floors. The keys that hung off his belt scraping. With more questions than answers rushing through her mind, Nell casually places the rest of the laundry into the washer, still taking her time to add the detergent before making her way upstairs. There's no rush now, she fears. She has an idea of what she's in store for. In a perfect scenario, Scion would be sitting at the dining table with Amberly enjoying a nice, tall, sweaty glass of ice-cold lemonade, smiling and laughing. Fat chance. She opens the basement door and peeks her head out. First thing she sees is the front door wide open. A package and some mail litter the floor and a thick trail of blood leading away from the living room and deeper into the house. Nell sees it all. She's just trying to ignore it. She swallows hard and shuts the basement door behind her. From this point forward, ignorance will have to be her bliss. The blood trail travels through the kitchen and down the hall. It becomes thicker and more plenty with each step. Amberly was eating as she was walking. Nell never expected Scion to be comparable to street food. Busy New York ordering a slice before he had to get to the next meeting in 10 minutes. It's only a matter of time before Nell stumbles upon the startling discovery of something she honestly does not want to find. She can imagine it now, whether she likes it or not. Poor mailman Scion, just doing his job. The door opens and little Amberly is there. The little girl he saw buried with his very own eyes just days prior. Seeing her being lowered into that 6-foot grave destined to become worm food. The look on his face had to be equal parts amazement, utter shock, and unmistakable horror. Just before she leapt at him, and ripped them open like tissue paper. What did you do, sweetheart? Nell asked herself, but she honestly cannot answer. By the look of it, she popped his head off like a grape and drank the juice. It was a massacre. Poor guy never stood a chance. But not Amberly. Not her beautiful little angel. No, she wouldn't hurt a fly. Maybe she's just being moody from being dead. The bottom of the wooden entry of Amberly's bedroom door pushes back the layers of blood that has formed a puddle. Ignorance is thickening more than ever now as Nell steps in, kicking the room temperature plasma into her shoes, drowning her socks. Most people right about now would vomit all over the floor. With this much blood, who would even notice? Instead, she upchucks a small amount of last night's dinner into her hands and tosses it aside. Like a lady. A thick trail of crimson leads to the red closet door where Sion's legs and lower torso stick out, his body being violently jerked back and forth as the sound of cracking bone and tearing meat can be heard, but thankfully not seen. Not yet. Poor Nell. Such luck. He's about to become witness of something evil. Perhaps she should do what any reasonable person would do and get the hell out of Dodge. But her curiosity is too intense. She needs to see it. She moves closer and peeks her head around the closet door and looks in, before quickly placing her hands over her mouth, gripping so tightly that she could snap her own jaw. Amberly has her head buried deep into Sion's shoulder, breaking apart the collarbone and drinking the marrow like a shucked oyster. Sion's reddened eyes, coincidentally and woefully, terrifyingly, stare back at Nell. He's alive. Now is her chance to help the man, but she does nothing. Instead, she begins shaking before she can notice that Amberly has stopped eating and is gawking right at her. She licks her lip like a dog mid-meal. Amberly, baby? Nell cries. What have you done? She leans in closer when Amberly grunts and tries to assault Nell. Another warning, nothing more. She's not done dining. Nell cries in fear, before again covering her mouth as to not agitate Amberly any more than she already has. Nell trips on the leg of Amberly's bed and falls into Sion's warm blood. She can't scream. She's too terrified. Amberly growls. It's okay, Amberly. It's okay. You need help now. I understand. I can help you. Nell pleads to deafened ears. She looks at the dying Sion and whispers, I'm so sorry. It's hard to tell if Amberly can understand at all, or doesn't care, as she pulls Sion entirely into the closet and slams the door shut. Nell sits in bewilderment, still surrounded by her friend's fluids as Amberly finishes her meal from inside the closet. The growing girl needs to eat. Nell couldn't possibly report this to anyone. Just like any parent who knows their children drink beer, they say, it's best to have them drink at home than drink anywhere else. And Nell does understand now. She's not giving Amberly up, and her little girl is not gonna stop. As perverted as her thoughts are, it's best to feed Amberly than to have Amberly look for food herself. Never in her life had Nell ever imagined she'd be at the crossroads of morality and damnation.